I want to talk about my top MVP candidates for the 2023 NFL season. I'm going to have a lot of fun reading the comment section for this segment. I'm going to start off with Lamar Jackson. I'm riding the Lamar Jackson hype train all season. And if you haven't already hopped on the Lamar Jackson hype train, you better grab your tickets before it's too late, because tickets are starting to sell out. Todd Monken is about to have Lamar Jackson playing at elite level. Y'all thought Lamar Jackson was unstoppable his MVP season. You have not seen anything yet. We know how good Lamar Jackson is as a runner. But imagine how good he's going to be with the offensive coordinator that's going to fully unleash Lamar Jackson's complete skill set. Lamar Jackson is also a better passer than what he gets credit for. I'm getting tired of these running back jokes, man. Like, the running back jokes were cool in 2018 and 2019. It's 2023. If you're still using the Lamar Jackson running back jokes, you're corny, fam, and you're not funny. Nobody's laughing at them anymore. Ha ha ha. Find some better jokes. Lamar Jackson is my front runner to win MVP this year. Lamar Jackson has Zay Flowers, OBJ, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. This is the most talented group of pass catchers that the Ravens have had in a very long time. Name me the last time the Baltimore Ravens had this much talent when it came to their pass group. Mark Andrews is arguably one of the best tight ends in the game. OBJ is still a fantastic receiver when he's on the field. And Zay Flowers is going to tear it up this year. Lamar Jackson is my pick to win MVP this year, and that's why I have him first on this list. Now, behind Lamar, I got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts came in second place in MVP voting last year behind Patrick Mahomes, and some argue that if Jalen Hurts never had to miss the few games that he did due to injury, he probably would have won MVP last year. And you look at the team that the Eagles have going into this year, pretty much the same team that they had from last year. They still have the best offensive line in the NFL. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You upgraded that running back with DeAndre Swift, who's going to be very good catching the ball out of the backfield, something that I don't think Miles Sanders was all that great at. Jalen Hurts, as long as he can stay healthy, I think that he's going to be able to be in the conversation for MVP. And what's even more scary is that I've been seeing some reports that said that if you thought Jalen Hurts arrived last year, he could be even better this season because he's still improving as a passer. And Jalen Hurts was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league last year, throwing outside of the numbers. And something else that I really love about Jalen Hurts is his mentality. Like, I was telling my homie a couple of days ago, like, there's just some players that you can look at and just know that they're going to be him. Jalen Hurts is one of those guys. Y'all remember when he had that turnover in the Super Bowl against Kansas City? And when I just looked at him, I looked to one of my homeboys and I said, watch Jalen Hurts score the next drive. Came back and answered with a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, his mentality is just different. He's that definition of somebody who has that dog in him. I love me some Jalen Hurts, man. I think Jalen Hurts is definitely going to remain in the running for NFL MVP this year. He almost won it last year. He was runner-up. We got some salty Cowboy fans in the comment section. Man. That boy Jalen Hurts is a dog. It doesn't matter if they lost in the Super Bowl. They didn't lose in the Super Bowl because of Jalen. Jalen was out there making plays. Put some respect on my man's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts damn near won the MVP last year. If it wasn't for injury, most people feel he would have run away with it, although Patrick Mahomes had a fantastic year. So I got Jalen Hurts on my list for MVP candidates going into the 2023 season. Next up, I got my guy, Joe Burrow. Now, y'all boys know Joe Burrow right now is my favorite player in the NFL alongside of Justin Fields. It's a tie between Joe Burrow and Justin Fields. But I love me some Joe Burrow, and I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But every time I watch Joe Burrow play, He gets it done. Like, you got people who say, man, JT, like, Joe Burrow doesn't have great playoff numbers. Oh, he isn't good in the fourth quarter. He has no fourth quarter touchdowns in last year's playoff run. Like, I don't give a damn. Joe Burrow gets the job done. All I know is that Joe Burrow wins games. And like I was saying earlier about Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow has that dog in him too. And you look at the fact that now Cincinnati should finally have solved their issues on the offensive line, signing Orlando Brown. We don't know who the hell's playing right tackle. Is either going to be Jonah Williams or Lael Collins, but hopefully they get that right tackle situation figured out, and hopefully they have no injuries on the offensive line this year. Y'all got to start looking at Joe Burrow on the same tier that we look at Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know that there's levels to this. You got Patrick Mahomes, and then you got Joe Burrow, but then there's everybody else. And I don't think that the gap between Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow is all that big. I think Mahomes is up here, and Joe Burrow is just a little bit underneath them. Joe Burrow took the worst offensive line in the NFL that season that allowed him to get sacked 70 times and led them to the Super Bowl. And now he has a great offensive line. You're going to have the best receiving core in the NFL, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. You signed Irv Smith. Irv Smith could go crazy in this offense. Jalen Hurts was really underrated last season for Cincinnati. And now you got a more athletically gifted tight end. Joe Burrow damn near was my pick to win MVP if Lamar Jackson didn't have Todd Monken as his OC. I love me some Joe Burrow. That's what I call Joe Burrow. I either call him Joe Burrow or I call him Joe Money, because every time you put money on Joe Burrow, he comes through. Love me some Joe Burrow. Had to have him on my list of potential MVP candidates. Next up, I got Trevor, Mr. Sunshine Lawrence. A lot of people think that this is about to be the great awakening for Trevor Lawrence this season. And the whole city of Jacksonville, the whole county of Duval is really expecting Trevor Lawrence to elevate into that top 3 quarterback discussion. And now they add the fact that you got Calvin Ridley, who I was listening to an episode of I Am Athlete. Devontae Adams had Calvin Ridley in his top 5. Can you believe that? Somebody considers Calvin Ridley to be a top 5 receiver? And I mean, I'm not going to push back against it because it's Devontae Adams. I trust his word more than mine, but I don't know if I would consider him a top 5 receiver. But I mean, you look at all the weapons that Trevor Lawrence has in Jacksonville. You got the fact that, what was his name? Christian Kirk, who had a really good season last year. Hopefully you can get things figured out with Evan Ingram, who had the best season of his career last year. And the offensive line, I don't think it's going to be as bad as what people expect it to be. I think that offensive line is going to be perfectly fine. Just people are tweaking out about the fact that they didn't re-sign Jawan Taylor when they got Walker Little. Walker Little is going to fill up just nicely in that right tackle spot in replace of Jawan Taylor. This Jacksonville Jaguars offense is going to be built around Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence has all the weapons at his disposal, plus Doug Peterson as his head coach. This should be the year that Trevor Lawrence gets into that top 5, top 3 quarterback conversation. A lot of Jacksonville fans are really excited about how good Trevor's going to be this year, and I can definitely understand why. You look at Trevor Lawrence and how good he was in the second half of games last year. Some people will say that he was the second best second half quarterback in the league behind Patrick Mahomes last year. Yeah, he didn't start games off great. You saw those 4 interceptions he threw against the LA Chargers in the wild card round, but you saw how he responded. You saw how he played in the second half. He was playing like a man possessed. Same thing in that Dallas Cowboys game. Same thing against the Baltimore Ravens. Like, one thing about Trevor Lawrence, this dude just has no conscience. He may start the game out cold, but when that money's on the line and you need somebody to step up and make him play, that's when Trevor Lawrence is going to be at his best. Sunshine has a legitimate chance to win NFL MVP this year, and there's some people that I talked to who even picked him to win the award, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Now, next up, we gotta have Patrick Mahomes on here, man. Now, I believe that was his second MVP award that he won last year. He very well could win that thing back to back, although it is very hard to win a consecutive MVP award. The last person who did it was Aaron Rodgers. But Patrick Mahomes, he put up incredible numbers last season. And there were some people that were counting out Patrick Mahomes last year. My guy, Juice Alert, said that they weren't even going to win a playoff game because they lost Tyreek Hill. And believe it or not, there were a lot of people, more than not, who thought that the Kansas City Chiefs were going to take a step back last year. And Patrick Mahomes, from week 1 to week 17, was the most dominant quarterback in the NFL last year. And he should still remain that this season, despite the fact that the AFC is going to be tougher. So, Patrick Mahomes, I just think that you got to have him on one of these MVP lists every single year. Even if you don't think he's going to win it, because it is hard to win it every single year. It's kind of like how some of the best players in the NBA are, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James. It's like you can make an argument for those guys winning MVP every single year, but sometimes it's just the fact that they've won it so much, it's kind of hard for them to outdo their previous MVP season. Patrick Mahomes, you just gotta have him on this list just out of respect. Now, this next person I have on here, ooh, I just know y'all about to go crazy on me, man. I just know y'all about to go crazy on me, but you know, I like the sound of MVP GENO. How y'all like the sound MVP GENO? And I know it sounds absurd to have a guy like Geno Smith on this list, but this dude was balling out last season for the Seattle Seahawks, and all the Seattle Seahawks did was get better. And you could probably say that Geno Smith was a top 10 quarterback last year. And you look at the fact that they add Jackson Smith and the Jigba to this offense with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and you're going to have a really good offensive tackle duo, which probably could be the best offensive tackle duo in the NFL. Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas. This is going to be one of the best offenses that the Seattle Seahawks have had on paper. I love me some Geno Smith. You wrote him off, and he didn't write back. And there's already people in the comment section saying, man, you tripping. Somebody just left the stream because I just put Geno Smith on this list, man. But Geno Smith has one of the best offenses in the NFL. There's just no reason why he shouldn't put up MVP kind of numbers this season. You saw how efficient he was last season. And if the Seattle Seahawks had a better record and they didn't get, you know, a little bit inconsistent during the second half of the season, Geno Smith probably would have been a lot higher in that MVP discussion. So if Seattle ends up having one of the best records in the NFL and Geno Smith continues to build on the season that he had last year, he most definitely could be in the running to be a finalist for the NFL's Most Valuable Player Award. And lastly, if you thought Geno Smith was outrageous, you're about to get incredibly upset with this one. But you got my guy, Justin Timothy Fields. Justin Fields gets a lot of hate, and it's not deserved. If you watched the Chicago Bears last season, you would know that the only time their games were close was when Justin Fields was playing his best football. When Justin Fields started taking over games, he was really hard to stop. I mean, look at his size. This dude's pretty much built like a running back. And not just that, but this man is a way better passer than what people are giving him credit for. He was held back by having one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL. This man was throwing to Dante Pettis, dog. Dante Pettis. Equinemius St. Brown. I love their podcast, but Justin Fields now has legitimate number one wide receiver in DJ Moore. He has an improved offensive line. And you're going to have Darnell Mooney coming back. When you look at Justin Fields, many people feel like he can have a similar leap this season that Jalen Hurts had last year in 2022. And when you look at how this MVP award normally comes down to being able to have big games and being able to put up video game-like numbers and making a lot of viral plays on social media, this is Justin Fields. This is something that he kind of does really well. one play that he had in particular that a lot of people should have been talking about more was that play when he damn near broke his neck against the Philadelphia Eagles. He breaks off one defensive tackle, and next thing you know, he starts hitting that left sideline, and this dude's just going crazy. Hits somebody with a spin move, and this man's still hauling ass downfield. Like, Justin Fields was one of the most electrifying players in the NFL last season. So if you don't have Justin Fields on your MVP list, man, what are you doing? Do you just not believe in Justin Fields at all? Like, the MVP award is also a little bit about flash. And I think Justin Fields is the definition of flash, with all the highlight reel runs that he's capable of making, all of the big time throws that he's able to make downfield when he has a good group of receivers, which he will have this season. You got to have Justin Fields on your MVP list, man. But this is my list of MVP candidates going into the 2023 NFL season. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this.